Last time on Desperate Attune, we caught up with the crew a few days after their successful hit on Jasper. They were cataloging the spoils of war, for most of which was a massive and ostentatious table carved out of a single ancestor tree. It was clear to everyone, and Saeeda particularly, that this was a twisted perversion of the most exalted entity in Kethrisi culture, and it had to be destroyed. To this effect, Saeeda sent Bald Murad and Pilot to learn more about the ancestor tree's origin, and asked Bhejal to meditate on the best way to end its suffering. Just as Saeeda went outside to clear their thoughts of the tortured ancestor tree, the neighborhood was rocked by the blast of trumpets. The building inspectors of House Ansurek had arrived. Feared throughout Bundervest, they were known for turning up out of the blue, condemning houses, and unceremoniously pulling them down, and they were making their way straight to the Rising Moon Sword School. Bidrohi, who had been hanging out outside, was the first to see them, and it was clear to him that this was not the usual Ansurek inspection crew. In the middle of the retinue, a wax golem transport, the type usually used by demon princes, carried an ominous stone cube. When Bidrohi and Saeeda stepped out to greet them, one of the inspectors, one of the largest men they'd ever seen, started to turn a crank attached to the stone cube. As he did so, the cube started to speak, in a horrible grinding voice like a construction site possessed, and introduced itself as Scream Grinder. The cacophony woke Mushfiq up, and he stumbled downstairs, demanding to know what the racket was about. Scream Grinder happily answered that the Rising Moon School had been condemned, and House Ansurek would be buying the property out. But that's all it could say before the operator couldn't turn the crank any longer, exhausted from the effort. Unhappy with this news, Mushfiq pressed the cube for more details by turning the crank himself. Completely unperturbed by Mushfiq's careless operation, Scream Grinder continued to tell them about how they'd been blessed with an investment. Mushfiq, on the other hand, was very perturbed, as the demonic vibrations penetrated him down to his very bones and threatened to take control. Thankfully, Saeeda intervened, gently singing a tune to interfere with Scream Grinder's natural frequency. It saved Mushfiq from demonic possession, but had the unfortunate side effect of obscuring Scream Grinder's speech, meaning that the crew didn't catch any of the lengthy terms and conditions being read out to them. But the deal was pushed through, and a new training ground, one that sprawled over the crowded hospitality ghetto, uprooting the surrounding houses and businesses, was built, with House Ansurek as their new landlords. Just as they had done in Kethris, Surek sought to bring the rebels of Bundervest under control through the power of finance. Even so, after the hit on Jasper, the crew had grown in influence, and so had their allies, the Bone Shakers and the Blue Smoke Troop, and the remnants of Jasper's Zailshis were reformed under Omid, paying lip service to the crew. The Fursan had covered for the crew's assault on Jasper, but someone had to take the blame, and this fell upon the Fire Speakers, the shadowy terrorist group that had Ustad Shahed in their custody. With the bounty on their heads, the group had gone underground, and the lead on Ustad Shahed grew cold. Thank you for listening to Desperate Attune. You can support us with a one-time donation on Ko-fi, or for $1 a month on Patreon for access to bonus content such as post-game banter, experience, and a newsletter from Tree.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Ending. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama.
I think I will indulge my vice last, so I'll just flag that I have like 6 stress, but I think I'm going to aim for indulging at last. So my first thing, as I said, I have the intention of clearing my stash out because I took the ability a river to my people, which lets me kind of like have lifestyle equal to tier, so I don't actually need to have stash, and I get bonuses when I have 0 stash actually. So that's the aim. And I have 3 downtime projects that I have not progressed at all, so I'm just going to do them very, very quickly, and maybe not really do scenes. So first one is called Tumturji. It's half-filled. Where did we last leave off with this guy? He was still working for the Blue Smoke Troop, right?
He was working for the Blue Smoke Troop doing costuming, and you had like leaned on Anish and Rakis to get him a more serious job, but you didn't lean on him very hard because Anish was like, "Is that really your top priority?" And you're like, "No, please have the war stop first."
I mean, yeah.
So he does some costuming work for the opera people, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, now we're tier 2, so I think you can tell me if this will change the size of this clock. But I think now it's time that we gave him like our custom as such, like as a crew. So
sure. So you want to hire him on as a cohort, is it?
Well, I don't think there's much point having a tailor as a cohort, to be honest. So I think what I want is for this to give everyone fine clothes and jewelry, which I think is not a particularly powerful item anyway. But it makes sense that he'd do it for everyone.
Okay, sure. How we'll frame it this way. Either you keep the clock at the length it is now, or let's start in the other end. Either you make it longer and it just accomplishes this, or we keep it at the length that it is now, and if you finish it, you will get everyone fine clothes and jewelry, and you will get Tumturji back in the business, but he's still not going to become your close friends. He's going to remain a contact, and in fact, he's still not going to be like super happy about all this because he used to own his own shop, right? So I think if you aim for this to be a 6 clock, sure, he'll have a job again, but he won't be like the successful business owner he once was, because now he depends on your patronage and is basically your employee. So it's kind of up to you how you want to frame it. I think if we make it longer, then it will both have the benefit of getting his friendship and his stuff.
Damn.
But I think it makes perfect sense.
I want to make it longer.
Yep. Okay. Then let's make it an 8 clock. I don't think we'll make it like terribly much longer, but I do think it's harder to get him back as like an independent businessman than to just And I think that's what you want.
And I think the way I want this to kind of look as an 8 clock is that he is going to not just make clothes for us, but we're going to wear his clothes. We're going to be his essentially we're going to be his models, right?
Yeah.
And people will see that, you know, the Rising Moon Sword School, these big guys in town, new kids on the block, they're wearing these like. We established that he's like got a very maverick design, right? So people will definitely be like, "Oh, so who are they wearing? Oh, it's this guy." And Tumturji is going to be the tailor of the season.
Okay, perfect. Clear 2 ticks off this clock. That's easier than starting a whole new clock and then start working on it.
Yeah. Okay. Clear 2 ticks, and let's see. I think first is Yeah. So since I'm just rolling with money, I'm just going to convince him to just come work for us.
Yeah.
So, Sway.
Sway it is.
Would you say that I have an intimate relationship with him?
Yes, I think you do. So you get a bonus.
Yeah. In fact, I get a bonus when I have an intimate relationship and a bonus to forming one. So either way, this would work. Fortune roll. Standard bonus dice.
Yeah, so you need 5 more ticks. If you crit... Wow. Oh, well, it's a 6. So if you spend 1 more coin, it is a crit, and you can get all the way there.
Yeah, in fact, that makes sense. So I think, it makes sense for me to spend money because, like, I'm investing seed capital. Obviously, I'm paying for all these clothes that everyone has now.
Yeah, I don't think you're investing so much as you are just hiring him to do a whole bunch of high-quality work, and you pay him exorbitantly well. So sure, everyone has fine clothes now. As an item you can add to your sheet.
Yeah.
And also, I think after having done this work for him, you can go ahead and bump up Tumturji to a good friend. I'm basing this partly on this clock, but also partly on we've seen that Bidrohi really likes this guy. And now you have properly saved him. I think now he is a business owner again. I guess the thing is, the whole sumptuary laws was never settled, right? Like his old business still got shuttered for violating sumptuary laws. It's just that he opened a new one and was like, well, I don't have any Shadow Silk in this one, so He had to replace all of his stock, which was very expensive. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we can set him up nicely. Maybe he's even like in a different part. Yeah, maybe he's in a different part of town too. Like maybe he's close to the troop. Maybe he's still working for them. There's money to be made.
Yeah.
All right. So I will continue on my other projects. So this hasn't hugely come up in a while, but like I suppose it makes sense at this stage. Our cohort has a flaw. It says loyal to Ramu.
Yeah.
And I wrote down a project that I didn't actually pursue called Ramu's followers are loyal to me.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to work on that.
Makes
Let's
sense.
see. Yeah. I think the way I start working on that is I I hang out with all of them. I try to figure out like, what it is that they still like. What is it about Ramu still, despite the fact that he didn't take us to tier 2, right? Oh wait, no, we were a tier 2 gang.
Yeah, you were. So you're just kind of catching up to your father's shadow now. You have yet to exceed him, but I think consorting with him and making sense of it is reasonable here.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's just a fortune roll with them. I'm going to take a bonus dice because of trust in me.
Yeah,
they're my cohort. It's a 6.
It's a 6, so it's 3 ticks and same deal. You can spend a coin to upgrade it to a crit and get 5 ticks if you want.
Yeah, I think this involves a fair bit of like whining and dining and being nice to people to really get them to open up.
You really are a river to your people.
Yeah. I'm losing money fast. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's okay. So I figured them out, and like, what's this? I think this is something that's actually useful to know. So we don't have to play it out, but like, what are the things that like people like really miss about Ramu? Like, we've established he's a piece of shit, but like, he must have had qualities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what people miss about him more than anything was his decisiveness. Out of the many people in Kethris, most of them were just like, we don't know what to do. Ramu always had a plan. He always seemed to have a goal. It was often very stupid, but he was the sort of guy who just said, let's do this, right? So I think basically the quality he had was that he was a genuine leader. He wasn't very smart, and he often bulldozed people, but he seemed to genuinely believe in his own ideas.
All right. Then I think we can have a really quick scene. And I say really quick in that people can extend it and have a conversation about it. But I think what's going to happen is that, I think, it's a bit boring maybe to just frame all these as dinners. But like, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially for South Asians. There's a lot of things happening over dinners. So I gather everyone for dinner. And I think I lay out, Bidrohi likes his long speeches, and I think in character this would be a very long speech. So
everyone asks in all the player characters, just to be clear.
Yes, all the player characters and also everyone in the sword school, basically. So even though I'm targeting the cohort with this, I think it doesn't make sense for me to just tell the cohort this. Everyone would be involved. I think even my mother might be here, because I think this is like future of the sword school. Al-Qadar's here too, like all the people who are like associated with us. And I think I lay out like what I want the immediate future to look like. And as I said, I won't do it in character because that'll take too long. But essentially what he's suggesting is that now that we are becoming more powerful and, we have this new building. I think we're doing it in the new building, in fact. Probably in the training yard. We probably like put out tables and so on. Not the table, but different tables and chairs, and we're having dinner under the stars. It's pretty nice, actually. So I think I point out that, we have this building now. It represents the new power, but it also represents our new status. It also represents, like, our new status as, like, very visibly servile, as it were. Like, now that we are so prominent, the powers that be will not just let us just do what we wanted to do. Like, we had leeway before, but we don't have that anymore. And now they want us to represent that if the Ketrasi want to grow, it will be under their terms entirely and will always be subservient to them. And we all know very well that there's no point really going directly against the noble houses because, well, they will crush you and probably damn your soul for eternity and all that sort of thing. So, the way forward for us, I think, is that we continue to grow in power, in prestige. We take back some of the loss in goodwill that this building represents, but capitalize on the power and authority that the building represents as well. That we, show people that the Kethrisi are a proud people, that the Kethrisi have the strength to grow, and we continue to make our footprint deeper and deeper. And meantime, we hobnob and we make friends and we get in with the noble houses, all of the noble houses, as many of them as we can, so that while they think that we are their friends, we will find an opportunity to get back at them, to make sure that they can't do this to us again. Just imagine Bidrohi saying that. I'm going to be rolling sway just in the meanwhile, just to see like how the cohort feels about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know how characters feel about it as well. PCs. I rolled a 6, so the cohort are sold.
Yeah, let's see the characters. I don't want to start by just describing the cohort, and I think the cohort reactions are also not that interesting because you rolled a 6, right? They agree with you. That's what happens. But the PCs, I think, are interesting to see.
I think Clem is nodding along, agreeing that this is a solid battle plan.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I was just waiting for someone to go because I'm not sure how much it feels about it either. Actually,
I'm curious to know whether we're both having the same problems. Like, what do you reckon? Like, what is the where is the kind of lack of certainty coming from for you?
I think generally with Mushfiq, I think Mushfiq has been too much of a sort of team player in general, which is, I think, like a problem with that. Like, I think there's a few like hang-ups about what he personally wants out of the crew, and like, which is more about like, I don't know, I guess more focused on vengeance and things like that, which is probably where my where his like mindset is, right?
I think it's
I don't know, what were you thinking? Yeah.
Because like, and we'll go back to what Tree's thinking, but I think like if we're interested in vengeance, then even though Bidrohi is talking about like the slight that the noble houses are doing to the Kethrisi now, know that this is a longer history.
Yeah.
And Bidrohi sort of knows that, but that's not as real to him. And like you can push on that as like as another thing that we could do, that there is a historical thing here to address as well with our vengeance, as it were. Yeah. You can contribute that, because that's a direction that I'm interested in as a character, as a player, and Bidrohi would be interested, but it wouldn't occur to him immediately.
Okay, well, let's say that Mushfiq has said that then. Maybe, but I don't know, like, as a... I mean, I don't know if as a public speech, but maybe he could, and he could just come up and say that, Actually, let Mushfiq not say anything right now, because I did actually want Mushfiq to talk about, like, the history with Saeeda at some point to, like, I've been wanting the two characters to have a conversation about this for a while, so maybe let Mushfiq just mull things over for a bit.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe Saeeda's thing is kind of the opposite in that, like, they've always been like the noble houses have been something that they're like explicitly against in a way, right? But there is also a feeling that that it can't just be about that, but they have to start seeing something new rather than the same like anger that they've been holding on to for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons that I'm not sure how Saeeda would feel here is that I'm not sure whether, like, which part of her is more dominant at the moment.
Okay.
Right?
So I think this is one of the disadvantages of like summarizing the thing, because you lose like the nuances. Because I think the way Bidrohi said it doesn't imply that he, that we become everyone's best friends and that's good, and then because we're best friends with everyone, they can't do anything to us and that's it. It's more that we need to fight them, obviously, but we can't fight Sarek, we can't fight Anixis, we can't fight Anrakas, but Anixis, Anrakas, and Ansar can fight each other.
Mm.
And that's the only way to actually get ahead against them. You have to put them against each other, and not just one against the other. You have to put as many of them in loggerheads together as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she agrees largely, and I think that she knows that it's the best way to make it happen. She's probably a little concerned that Bidrohi is doing this, because I think she sees a little bit of herself in him, in that like it needs to happen, somebody needs to do it, and Bidrohi's like being responsible. But it's unfortunate that like Bidrohi's the one that's doing it. So I think she's both scared and a bit guilty. But proud also.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, like, this is not the sort of thing that, can be hashed out immediately. I'd be really interested in seeing what Saeeda and Mushfiq have to say about it afterwards when they think about it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is interesting in this moment where the crew are like, hell yeah! Clem's just nodding along like that one gif of that bearded blonde man in the, I don't know, it looks like Canadian River or something. Nodding slowly as the camera's passing. You know the one. You know that one. Yeah, I'm imagining Clem doing that. I imagine my mother is sitting there stoically shaking her head. We'll see about that later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Alqadar probably stands up and makes a speech that I won't ask Prince to do.
It would, if we're summarizing Bidrohi's speech, then let's absolutely summarize Alqadar's speech, because it's going to be far more rambling.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that project done. Okay, I have taken up a fair bit of time. I can keep going, but I think it's cool if someone else wants to do theirs for a bit.
Can we see Clem stepping in here, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a clock now, which is find this new rival on the streets of Uduasha.
Yeah.
Which is, or I take psychic damage, and I can't afford to take any more psychic damage.
Yes, this makes sense. So how are you going about tracking down this Severosi blacksmith who's been working for the Giselle cheese?
I think tracking down. I have a supplier for the steel I use, so going to the supplier and telling them to tell me who the fuck is also buying your steel, or I'm going to make sure that you'll never sell steel again. I don't think you understand.
Well, it sounds like you're commanding. I was going to go with
commanding them.
With this. Sounds like commanding.
I'm going to steal your attempts at selling steel.
Yes.
This steel is all mine. Goodbye.
Yeah. You gotta take it to some open mic, I think.
This is actually my cultural item. You can't just sell it. Yeah. Cool.
I own the concept of steel.
They tell me to fuck off.
A 2 and a 3. Yeah, so you still get a tick. And I think what happens is your steel supplier is apparently pretty tough. I guess also Severosi. And they like stare you down and basically tell you in no short order that they only sell this steel to people they personally trust. And that means that they don't tell on the people they personally trust. And it turns out that this person is actually like quite badass and not worried about you. But the reason you still get one tick is that you at least have narrowed it down to like, okay, so this definitely is a Severosi person who definitely has some sort of in with this supplier. But it's just one tick because they're not giving it away, and even if they did, it's probably like a fair list of people. And maybe, in fact, if they do anything illicit with it, they probably hide it from the supplier as well, right? Because of this trust. So, in fact, I think that's the route. I think they're like badass and tell you that no, I trust everyone I sell to, and you believe them. Like you go like, okay, that's true, which means that they don't know, right? Because I think this person, whoever they are, would probably also object to selling stuff to the Jazel cheese.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, what that leaves you with is basically tracking down the people in the Severosi community in Uduasha that the supplier might trust. Or, of course, going via the person who keeps tabs on people from Severos in the city, Tamira. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
I like the things you say, Prince.
I don't. I'm not liking this actually now. Oh well. Fuck it, I suppose. Yeah, I think Clem goes back to their toxic ex and goes, I need. I suppose it'll cost me, but I need to know who the hell is buying Severus' steel.
Oh, interesting, he says. And you have business with Severosi Steel, and I had business with the Blue Smoke Troop. Because you kind of got in the way of that. So she kind of.
To be fair to Clementine, Saeeda got in the way of that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Saeeda didn't get in the way.
Saeeda's with me. Saeeda's actually with me. I'm bringing Saeeda into this too. Scary dog privilege.
I'm just standing in the corner watching this happen, and I'm deeply unhappy about this.
Yeah. So I think she says, well, it will cost you all right. But besides that, I would like to break into Ash Cloister. Now, you interfered with that last time. She says, kind of side-eyeing Saeeda, but still addressing Clem, because let's remember, Tamir is still scared of Saeeda. That's
that's why I'm here, right? Like, I'm here, and I'm in the background to make sure that Tamir doesn't get any smart ideas.
But she says, like, now, if you're not going to get me in with the performers directly, maybe some other form of rising star in Ash Cloister you have connections to, like, I don't know, that Taylor, perhaps?
Interesting.
I think Tamira's thing is just going to be to, like, fuck with other people via Clem as much as she can. I think this is the toxic vibe she's going for, because she's kind of, she's that kind of person.
Great. Fantastic. Muy bien.
So...
I was going to say that if Salty wants Samira to continue to be an NPC she is going to interact with, they should definitely make sure that they are not going to, that Tamira is not going to be in a position to fuck with Tumdurji.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
She wants an in to Ash Cloister. You can suggest someone else, but she brought up Tumdurji now, because he lives in Ash Cloister now, as was established.
I don't think you're getting what I'm putting down to Mira. Either you're going to tell me, or I'm going to kick the shit out of you. You understand?
And if there's anything of you left over, I'll make that into chutney.
And kick it.
Indeed.
And you're not going to enjoy it this time.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we're in position to make a roll, but I think there's risk involved. And it's not risk here and now. I just think Tamira is not the kind of person to like get in a fair fight, right? But Tamira is also very sly. So let's call this a risky standard roll. Like it's still a downtime. I usually don't like to make downtime actions risky, but in this case I think it is. So let's call it risky standard. On a success you get 2 ticks. And if there's a consequence, there's a consequence.
Unfortunately, I cannot assist you unless I trauma out. So before we do this, can we, like, I wanted a scene with my vice purveyor. Can we say that happened before this, and I will just like clear any amount of stress so that I can help Clementine?
Okay, sure. We'll still focus on that because I want to devote some focus for that. But sure, you can assist.
I rolled a 2. So you know what? Great.
You don't have to. You don't have to assist because.
I mean, it like on a 2, helping you on 1 stress doesn't matter because I have to.
Yeah.
I was at 10 stress earlier. This 1 stress is not going to make the difference.
Okay.
So it's totally fine.
We'll see you indulge vice more later then. But for now, Saeeda helps. You get a bonus die, Clem. I mean, you don't have to take it, but you get 1.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm on 3 trauma now, so I'm actually going to traumatic flashbacks my way out of this.
Okay.
Because I think it's extremely appropriate to start traumatic flashbacking my way when I'm dealing with my ex-wife or wife, but you know, whatever.
It's complicated, yes.
It's
okay,
complicated,
so
don't worry about it.
Yes. So base 3 dice and you're getting 1.
I've got 4 die plus 1, so I'm rolling 5. Please.
Good.
Cool.
5 dice, risky standard.
That's
a crit. Okay. So then you get improved effect and get 3 ticks, first of all. And I think Tamira drums her fingers against the table and she says, well, you're lucky that I'm not in the metals industry, so we're not directly competing now, are we? Fine. I have some intelligence on the matter, she says, and she picks up, I think she just picks up like a statistical catalog, and she slides it over. And this is a thing that she has obtained from the bureaucracy, because Tamira is also like, she's getting her fingers into Udwasha, and that means knowing the right people in the bureaucracy. The reason she's giving you this statistical catalog is pure sadism, because it's actually very helpful. You roll the crit, so it's like 3 ticks. You can go through this and find out. But she also knows that like, Clem is going to hate this, right? You're not the sort of person who carefully studies statistical catalogs.
Yeah, but what Tamira doesn't know is that Clementine has friends.
Yes, of course. But it's still like
Saeeda, for sure. But Saeeda is the kind of person who kind of actually does enjoy like statistical analysis, I guess. Yeah. Well, definitely they enjoy study. So
yeah. So I think what Tamira hands you is like it's a copy that she's not allowed to have of official city records of various industries, one of which is metals. So this is better than asking your supplier, because this book is basically full of receipts.
Oh, of course, Tamira's the type to have receipts.
Yes. Oh yeah. That is exactly the sort of person she is. And your character doesn't know you rolled a 6, right? So I still want to point out that even though you back Tamira up against the wall and get her to give you what you want, I think it's still kind of the situation that none of you are quite sure that she didn't screw you over somehow by giving you a catalog of like illegally copied receipts. But
yeah.
I think Clem's taking it, like getting uncomfortably close into her personal space. I think we'll look through this now. You can clear your schedule for me, can't you?
You're pushing further? Interesting.
And I think, and Saeeda's here for it, so I think she will just say, as if the question was directed to her. Yeah, I don't have anything on. Do you have anything on?
Okay, I think it's another action. I think it must be. So I think, Tamira is backed up against the wall. She was really just trying to get rid of you.
But turns out, joke's on her.
Yeah. So I think that now it's not a downtime action. Now it's just you pushing your pushing your luck, right? So it's just an action. It doesn't cost a downtime action. I think it's still risky because you roll the crit, you're still in control of the situation. And let's call it let's call it starting off at limited, because Tamira is wily and doesn't particularly like you, so she's like, sure, you want to waste my time, I can waste some of yours and try to help you with this as inconveniently as possible. So it starts out risky limited. You're of course free to trade it to desperate standard if you want. I mean, you are in her office threatening her, so, and she has staff, so.
You are not wrong. I'm just wondering whether there's something I can do to help.
Yeah. The upside is you can get a tick on your clock 1 with a limited effect without needing to spend a downtime action. So. Or you can get 2 if you're going for Desperate Standard. And if you're going for Desperate Standard, I think I will also sweeten the deal with some extra information.
Trying to think, what else could I bring to bear here?
We have informants, right? But this isn't. Is this count? No, it's not. It's a gather info, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could I spend some of my stash to have bribed people? Because she employs drug addicts, and I spend some of my stash to here. Go treat yourselves.
Okay, sure.
Nice.
I think you can do this, and in that case, it brings you to either controlled limited or risky standard. That's up to you. It makes sense that this would primarily lessen the risk, but it can also improve the effect if you prefer.
It would be controlled limited, and I'll trade to risky standard.
Okay.
So it's making a commotion now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think unfortunately Saeeda is not going to help you on this because I'm too stressed away from her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So Tamira, your toxic still wife, being pushed up against the wall to help you with this catalog and potentially give you 2 more ticks.
I'm so tempted to file a form to get the 2 of you divorced in Udwasha. I'm sure there must be some form that will permit me to do it. All I have to do is forge some signatures, probably.
They're not even divorced?
No.
Oh.
It's very hard under Severosi law to get divorced. Okay.
Indeed, especially if you're not in Severos. Oh, yeah.
Listen, here's the plan. We use my friend Leo. He's from House Unruckus, or well, he's not a House Unruckus scion, but like his patron, patronee. Patroned? Yes, by someone in House Unruckus. Anyway, what I mean is I have an in with House Unruckus. Flash forward to a complicated score to get House Unruckus and talk to Ruckus himself to use his magic juice to make sure that these 2 people never fell in love in the first place.
Okay, good.
Yes, this is my plan.
I get the feeling that they never were in love. I mean, you can push back. I mean, maybe.
Well,
maybe
they were never
but...
in whatever the fuck this is.
Anyway, Clem, please roll.
Yes.
Are you commanding again?
Sounds... If I turn it into desperate great, could it be just what? This is gonna pinning her down and on her desk and going and leaning over her back and going, "You're gonna help us, and you're going to clean out your entire schedule for the day while I go over every single piece of information you have to offer. Do you understand, Tamira?"
This is why Saeeda can't help, because Saeeda should leave.
But Saeeda is gaining some insight into why these people are involved in this way. And they don't like it.
Yeah, desperate great. I think Tamira totally likes this. This is the
thing. That is exactly the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is exactly the problem.
This is Ruckus can clear this all up.
Desperate
Putting
great.
your faith in. And is this wrecking?
Sure.
Can I swing this as wreck?
Yes, you can wreck her office and her heart. This is.
You can wreck her office and her.
Okay.
Wreck her office and her heart.
Yeah.
As I deserve to. That is a 6, though.
Oh, that is a 6.
Works. This is how
it
goes.
Yeah, so I think there's like a sharp intake of breath, and she smiles, and I think it's totally clear to Saeeda that, like, yeah, she is so into this. And,
Saeeda, you should leave.
I'm not gonna leave because
Oh God!
just
What?
because she's into it doesn't mean she's not about to stab my friend.
yeah. And so I think what will happen here is that you get kind of the thing you wanted, but also kind of not, I guess. Which is that she is going to help you with this, and she's also now kind of into you again. And it's like, maybe I made a mistake letting this one be so independent. Because this is really fun. Tamira is a hedonist, after all. She has absolutely no problem with enjoying things. So
I mean, I would make fun of this, except, of course, I do have a problem with enjoying things. So,
yeah. Yeah. So we can veil precisely what happens over you as you go through the statistical catalog, which is a funny sentence to say.
Listen, Saeeda should leave.
I am gonna wait for Clementine to indicate that he would like me to leave.
Does Clementine indicate this?
I hate this.
I'm going to roll resolve resist.
Okay. Well,
good.
Probably you're probably uncomfortable by the time they look up.
Yeah. It's probably like you do indicate that Saeeda should leave, but not quick enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I regret this so much, but okay.
Listen,
Okay.
I have never. Listen, Bidrohi has never had sex in front of you. Okay. I won't hear any shit about Bidrohi's love life going forward.
I'm sorry to tell you, Bidrohi also does not have an incredibly toxic ex who may well stab him in the middle of this.
Yeah, not yet.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
So I think what is going to happen here is that Tamira is going to there's going to be some amount of intimacy between you, and then she's just going to be like, yeah, I don't need to go through the catalog, I know. Once you have successfully wooed her. So take 3 more ticks, and you're 1 tick away from tracking down the identity of this person. And I will outright ask you, because I think it's more interesting if you, as Clem, decide which direction you want to go in this with this. Such a powerful smith must obviously have some sort of patron to get access to. I mean, this is hard to do, and you were exceptional for just doing it in Woots' smithy. Tamira knows who the patron is, so you're just like the 1 tick away from identifying exactly who it is. Do you think the patron is House Anserek, that you have just met, or do you think the patron is a wizard of the well?
Why can't it be both? ¿Por qué no los dos?
Okay, sure. So it's a House Anserek wizard of the well. We're making up a new NPC who is some sort of powerful patron. And I guess you get the name of this patron. I think that's an interesting way to take this. So let me look if we have any interesting Anserek people who could screw around with going down to the well.
If you don't see them in House Anserek, I have someone to suggest.
Okay, go ahead.
So there's Fawzia Anserek. No, that's... was it Fawzia? Let me quickly check.
Wasn't Fawzia your friend who was...
Oh, if she was an Anserek, then she's perfect. Yeah, maybe she's graduated.
But there's Scheherazade Anserek, chief engineer at the Steamworks. Scheherazade is worried that the loss of life on the works is unsustainable and seeks to cut out human labor altogether.
I think it's cooler if it's Fawzia, though, if that makes sense.
No, I don't think so, because Fawzia was kind of... She leads a tier 1 faction that no one really cares about.
Okay,
but
sure.
this is like the chief engineer at like the major like power generating system in the city.
Yeah, Scheherazade Anserek is the patron, then chief engineer at the Steamworks, seeks to cut out human labor altogether. Cold, efficient, and patriotic are their tags. And this person is a member of House Anserek and also intimately familiar with the Wellfire. And the patron of the person you seek.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I think this makes sense, right? I think Tamira gives you everything she possibly can, which is quite a lot because she's very good at spycraft. And if she had looked into this specific thing of like who the smith exactly is, she probably would have found it, but she just hasn't yet. She just knows that, yeah, Scheherazade Anserek employs a Severosi smith who plies their trade secretly.
Yes, very good.
And that's all you had to say.
As you leave the room, you will notice that Saeeda has not left and is waiting for you with a grimace on her face.
In the cock chair.
Ew!
Oh god.
That-
Oh god. Astaghfirullah.
I hope that one day you awaken in the middle of the night and realize exactly what it is that you have done. And on that day,
You're just channeling fucking Merciful right now. Going in,
no!
they're gonna put you in the jail. They're gonna fill the jail with acid.
Brother, hearing that broke my fast.
Yes, yes.
No, your fast is stronger than that. Don't say such things. It's Ramadan.
Again, this
Very
will
good.
not make any sense when this comes out in like September, but you know.
We can
It's
always
so
aim to
powerful that it breaks
have like
next
a-
year's
have
fast.
like a huge like a release delay and just release this next Ramadan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Indeed. Yes,
Okay.
Wonderful.
very good.
Shall
Yes,
shall
I
we-
love
shall
I
we-
love the
shall we-
scene. I like
Yes.
Samira so much.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Do we want to do anything else after that, Clem? Because that was just 2 downtime actions. Well, it was your 2 free downtime actions, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I'll leave it, and then if there's anything else I want to think
Okay.
about.
let's go to Saeeda then. You are indulging Vice again. So since your first indulge Vice roll was shit, let's just indulge Vice again and frame the scene around that.
Yeah. So because we now have what we've tiered up, and the Aampire is somebody who engages in weird and terrible sports to amuse itself in whatever way it seeks to. It seems like tearing up is one of the times you might end up involving Saeeda in some weird, fucked up shit.
I mean, this is definitely the consequence if you ever overindulge, but
Yeah. Okay, so basically what I think is that whenever I've said, oh, I'm indulging Vice, I'm just like, oh, I eat some mango, right? As if it's like a health potion,
yeah.
you know? And let's be real, a mango in real life is a health potion. But I
Uh-huh.
don't know if it's a health potion in this game.
Uh-huh.
So
I think
that's
what,
basically...
and I think what makes sense also is you need to visit this like grove and this tree we introduced where the Aampire hangs out, right? Because
Yeah.
your Vice
Yeah.
is defined as mangoes, which means going into the Blackwood and to this place.
So I think like one of the things that I think should happen is that we do need to see Saeeda go back into the Blackwood. And given that Mushfiq has recently overindulged in his food eating problem, maybe he would like to join me.
Sorry, I had to speaking that again, Audie, my cat, was howling outside my door. I had to take care of that.
So you have what, told Udi off?
No. So he does the same where he comes out outside the door and he starts howling there, and he'll neither come in, nor it's very hard to say exactly what he wants. So I just had to go out, grab him, drop him on my desk, and he's quiet now.
Did you tell him if there is still several hours away?
I think it's just
Is
being.
Is your
He's just
cat
being a
compelled to fast also?
No,
Okay.
no,
You just think...
no. I hope you weren't being serious.
No, I wasn't. Sorry. I just thought it was funny. I mean, I'll definitely believe that there are some people out there who make their pets fast. In the same way that I believe that there are some people out there who do other things that I think are very odd. I tried to come up with one, but my brain's not working today.
I cannot find this now, but there was a wonderful video of a guy explaining to the cats that because it is
Yes.
Ramadan, they're going to find less
Yeah.
food.
Yeah,
yeah.
in Turkey, in Istanbul.
Yeah.
That's
Great
pretty
video.
good, actually.
That's a good video. I remember that. I really liked how all the cats collectively meowed when he mentioned Ramadan.
That's very good.
As they should.
Yes, but anyway, yes, I think what he's just being he's just being a bit of a diva where he wants to he wants me to play with him, but he won't approach me. I have to go get him to.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. Carrying on.
So,
Yes,
is
you wanted
Mushfik
Mushfik
going
to...
to come to the mango grove and meet the Aampire and
Yeah.
have a mango?
Yeah, why not? Mushfik hasn't met Aampire yet.
No.
No, and I mean a fruit-themed demon was Aampire? Demon?
Yes.
Well, we don't know what it is precisely. It's something.
Well, a fruit-themed something. Let's,
Mhm.
like, this meeting's been a long time coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, just to recap what Mushfik sees then, since he will see her for the first time, the Aampire looks like a hairless human woman, perfectly hairless, no eyebrows, nothing, dressed in mango leaves. That I say dressed because it's a loose term, but like with mango leaves stuck to its body, and moving with like just an absolutely uncanny speed in almost everything it does. Like even its gesturing is synced wrong.
Is the shadow weirdly unsynced with the body also?
Oh yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Yeah, great.
Interesting about the movement. Is there like, can I study? Like, is there anything I can learn from these movements? Like, well, what is it? Is it like just? Does this look like they're just sort of like being played fast forward or something?
Yeah, I think you can absolutely study and learn here. And I think when you enter this grove, I think what we'll see is at first you don't see the Aampire at all, and then you see like a mango pit, like at the center of it, fly through the air, and then the Aampire catches it and throws it back, and it's basically playing catch with itself.
Oh.
Almost in the manner of like a cat toying with prey. It's like very clear that it's bored.
And the thing, of course, is that normally when that occurs, when I play catch with myself, I toss a ball at a wall rather than at myself, and then go so fast that like
yeah.
This is some Dragon Ball Z stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's and I think it's very clearly like from their expression and everything, it really is like this is a bored predator, right? This is done in the manner of a cat kicking around a ball of yarn. In the sense that, like, it could totally employ this to just straight up murder someone, but it doesn't have a candidate right now, so...
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to figure out...
When I don't have a candidate to murder. Yes.
I guess what Mushfik's trying to figure out is these movements, is it, like, just the form of the movements? To try to, like, I guess it's really hard to even track what's going on, right? Yeah, so... What would that be, to study?
Yeah, it's study, and you can back down if you want to, but it's desperate standard.
Oh, desperate standard just to study it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking vampire Aampire.
And you're in its sanctum, so even drawing its attention is incredibly dangerous.
Sorry, since I was distracted by Aadiyat, like, what's the context for the scene again?
I just need to make sure that I go to the Blackwood and keep my Aampire happy. Because if I don't,
Saeeda is basically just picking mangoes with the Aampire's blessing.
Yes.
And the Aampire is toying with a mango pit.
Cool.
Demonstrating its horrendous combat prowess. And I think the reason this is desperate is simply because Mushfik like draws its attention. I think it's otherwise possible for Mushfik to just like stay behind Saeeda and but it's, you know, this is a supernatural thing. You look at it too closely, the abyss gazes back, and etc.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. I mean, I have no points in study. I've horribly failed a desperate roll. Just, you know, not.
Which is why I'm telling you, you can back down. I think it's obvious to you that looking too closely at this is dangerous.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, if you like, you can talk to the Aampire instead. That's how it became my friend.
Yeah. I guess also you could trade it down to risky limited if you're trying to like hide what you're doing, right? You're just sticking to Saeeda's side and like trying to steal a glance at it.
Will the Aampire mind if I just talk to it, like Saeeda says?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess that's in the dice rolls.
All right. Okay. Let's just do. I don't know. Let's do risky limited then.
Okay. Study it risky limited. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Saeeda, do you want to assist me? Can you at all? Or anyone? No.
I'm two stress away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Saeeda's assisting.
I mean, I could assist you by telling you about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because Clem's met,
That's fine.
Yeah.
Clem's met it and didn't lose a staring contest.
Yeah.
I don't think one can ever win a staring contest with the umpire.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's just. Oh, it's a 4. Sorry.
Okay. So
That's
you
not
get
bad.
some limited insight at the cost of some risk. And yeah. So what precisely do you want to know? Let's start there.
I mean, there's just so many.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many questions when you see something like this. But I think for someone like Mushfig, the thing that really I think interests him is like just learning about. I mean, I don't think saying biomechanics is the right term here, but just trying to study the form of his movements. Like, how does it move that fast? Right? Like,
Yeah.
is there, like, is it just its supernatural power? Is there something to, like, is there something to the physicality of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I have a really like fucked up and weird answer, and I don't know how Mushfik knows this precisely. But
Oh, that's
I
fine.
guess what you detect is there's nothing like bending the laws of reality here. It doesn't like slow down time or do any sort of demon bullshit. It really just
Right.
is moving that fast. And the reason for that is its diet.
Oh.
Wait. So what you're saying to me is the mangoes that it's eating are the reason it's like this?
Maybe? Yeah?
Oh, we don't know whether it eats the mangoes or it eats something else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just introducing this as like a fucked up thing. Whatever it eats in here in the Blackwood is keeping up its strength. And so there's nothing like, I mean, it is supernatural, right? But not in the sense that it's like bending reality or anything. It's just really, really fast.
Okay, yeah, I think that does answer what I wanted to know.
Yeah. And the consequence is, as you study it, it tests you, because that's what the Aampire does. And it tests you in the most basic way, because it's bored. You're here as a friend of Saeeda, whom it tolerates. So it's not going to like break you or anything. It's just going to toss the mango pit as hard as it can, which is considerably hard, right at your face, just to see if you can catch it.
Okay, well, I'll try to catch.
You don't have reflexes, do you?
And
I don't.
The way that I'm framing this
Between
is...
heartbeats.
Yeah, I do have between heartbeats, yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. How does between heartbeats work?
I may push myself to do one of the following: deliver a blow of superhuman accuracy and speed, striking true, occupy an opponent or group of opponents with fully with parrying, or avoid blows in combat. So I think
Right. If you activate this
Mushfik-
ability, it will just work then. There's no roll needed.
Okay.
So you have to
So
push yourself for something, right? So like, is
Yeah.
there
Yeah, to
some
push myself,
different
yeah.
role here that you could
Yeah, you
gain
could.
some extra insight or something?
if Mushfik, as the mango pit is thrown at in human speeds as Mushfik, if Mushfik were able to draw his sword and do the samurai thing where he slices a bullet, and this gets a
yeah.
mango pit in half, would that impress the
Oh yeah,
Aampire?
totally.
Oh yes.
I think you must push yourself to use between heartbeats for this to be possible,
Okay.
but you
Okay.
can absolutely do it. So
All
the way
right,
I'm framing
so-
it is it's a push for effect, I guess, but that effect will take you up to standard.
But so this is a resistance roller, right? So do I have to resist something first and then do this, or?
No, I think because you activate between heartbeats, it can be an action instead.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. So between heartbeats, I push myself to do that, and I'll roll. I
Finesse,
guess
it sounds like. But
finesse. I think finesse. I'll roll finesse.
Yep.
Risky standard.
Yeah, risky standard.
Oh
And
yeah.
like, succeed or fail, you will cut the mango in half. The roll is just to see how impressive it is.
Cool. All right. Let's see it. 4 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 4 and a 2. Yeah, so it throws the mango pit, you cut it in half, and the risk here is more going to be something that Saeeda realizes. So,
Okay.
effect number 1. The Aampire is impressed. You don't get any like special benefits from this other than that you can come back here and it is like, okay, cool, you're interesting and not just prey. So that's your standard effect. The consequence is its mango pit that it was playing with is now lost. And the Aampire is going to be like, it's going to regard you both with like some fondness and be like, yes, it's good you're here. And it's going to go sneak off and kill someone because now it lost its toy.
There's no chance I could direct it specifically at someone, could I?
You could take an action. It will be desperate, but yeah.
Okay.
Like I think you both see this again. The Aampire can speak, but it's just not fond of wasting words.
Yes.
So like there is this moment you cut the pit. It like nods in appreciation. It's like a very anime kind of nod at Mushfik, right?
Yeah,
like yes,
If I
you are
had
cool.
glasses, the glasses would flash. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's going to be like, well, I need to go find a new toy, basically.
Okay, so before it does that, I would like to roll my vice, because if I need the stress, that would be the time.
Yeah, it makes sense. You can have been eating a mango while Mushfik was looking at the Aampire play.
It's a 5, which is much better.
Yeah.
So I'll go back down to 4 stress. And I will look at it, and I will just say, Ustad Jeklev wrote me a poem some time ago saying that, what was it? And I'm going to edit this post out while I very quickly look up that poem that I wrote. And then basically what Saeeda's doing is trying to incite it to go after Jeklev. It might be really funny if that happens.
Yes. Okay. So you can do this, but let me just flag ahead of time that it is, first of all, it's desperate because you're trying to direct this horrible monster. So that's desperate.
Absolutely.
It's limited because Ustad Jeklev, like the Aampire's motivation is to go after some easy prey. Ustad Jeklev is not easy prey.
He's not easy, right?
No.
Okay.
So you will have limited effect in that it will go in his direction and fuck with him somehow, but it's pretty much inevitable. Yeah.
Even that is fine, right?
I think it's just pretty much inevitably they will take down one of his bodyguards or one of his it may be someone he cares about, but it won't be him personally.
That's totally fine, right? And I think I will just say, yes, he said his sash is as the mirror of the sun, reflecting glory into unworthy eyes. I think he meant people like you and me, I'm just gonna imply that, sure, it was directed at you, but I think he would include you or whatever, right?
Okay.
So
it's a sway, desperate limited. And you can do this because you are an occultist, so that's why it's not 0 effect.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Desperate limited. And I'm just wondering whether. No, I think it's fine. Okay, desperate limited. It is 3 dice, so statistically, I just rolled a 6. So you
did roll a 6. So I think for once the Aampire speaks, which is not prone to, and it says, "He is a poor poet." And then dashes off, just like.
Yeah, absolutely. And as it dashes off, I will just look at Mushfik and say, "So you got to be really careful when you attract its attention. Don't think I didn't notice you looking at it."
I think Mushfik kind of nods and goes, He just goes, and he goes, "So, Saeeda, how are you friends with this creature again?"
I think as you ask this, I just want to highlight this. The scent of the most amazing fucking mango you've ever had drifts into your nostrils from the fruit Saeeda is still holding.
And I'm eating this mango, and I will just say, "How about I tell you the story while I eat this mango? And I know you like your food, and the Aampire isn't exactly here anymore. But if you pick a mango, it will know, and if you don't have its permission, it will notice. I just brought you here so you could see it. And isn't it lovely?" Because I think, even when Clementine came with me, we had to do a little bargain to make sure Clementine could eat something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the mango that you're holding look very delicious?
Oh my god. It is, I mean...
And Mushfik can't have any?
Just saying that it's a risk. And you can't definitely hide it in your mind. You want one, you have to go and get one of your own. Sorry.
Wait, what was that?
I said if you wanted one, you have to get one of your own. You can't have any of mine. Which is a very mean thing to say, to be honest. You probably could have some of mine, actually. Maybe that's why it's not like a
Mhm.
like a full fix, right? Is that I have
Yeah.
to give some of my mango away for you.
Yeah.
Away to you.
Makes sense. But yes, I mean,
Um,
it is established that I don't know who wrote the Aampire, but it is established that like people come here and risk their lives for these
Yes,
fruits,
correct.
right?
I mean, they're worth it. They're
yeah.
fucking worth it, man. Oh my god.
So two things. I think one, I think, is that Mushrik is gonna be genuinely impressed with Saeeda, and it's not that he usually isn't. Like he is, he does respect Saeeda too, But I think this is one of those moments where I think he might actually be a little odd that Saeeda is just allowed to be here, because I think Mushrik can appreciate just how terrifying the Aampire is.
Mm.
And I think if I just say like, Saeeda, you're like, I think he can't really. It's one of those things where like he's awestruck, and so the words don't really, come out as much, and he just goes like, "Are you just really? Are you secretly really cool?"
Saeeda, mango still in her mouth, says, "Don't tell Bidrohi, or he won't let me hear the end of it. He'll tell me about how I have main character energy again, and it was bad enough the first time, but I have been up to some things in my life, and I see a lot of myself in Bidrohi, and that it does scare me a little."
The number two thing is I did mention that Mushrik and maybe would like to maybe talk with Saeeda about like the history of Tetris, and I think this is
Yeah, now is a good time.
moment to do it. That's a good time,
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
think like he goes at this time. I think Mushrik does become a bit contemplative, and he goes just, and you've been around for a while, right? As you say, you've done some things around, like
Yes.
has it always been like this?
Ah,
And I think you know what he means by has it always been like this? Like,
Yeah.
because like I think Mushrik was maybe not born into the war, but like pretty much from a young age, that's all he's seen, right?
Yeah.
And then he joined the war, and this
yeah.
is it. And he goes like,
I think they'll say, I know people who'll say it was just a different kind of bad. I don't think so. I think it was better before. And the gentlemen were not pleasant to be around, and I saw them take advantage of illiterate farmers. But they didn't cut our trees down. They didn't disrespect our gods. They didn't make a fucking table out of my mother's. Look, I know that it's difficult to imagine that we might get out of this, that we won't forever be the people to whom this happened, that we will always have lost it. But it wasn't for the vast majority of the existence of the village of Khatam. It was not like this. For the vast majority of our history, we were whoever we were. We didn't need to. We raised our blades and our sickles in defense of ourselves against bandits and the occasional Deathlands beast. We didn't do it against Jazeera cheese, and we certainly didn't do it against Imperial gunmen.
I think Mushrik then goes like, no, I know that we're gonna get out of it. I think to some extent I've always known that at some point we would just, but more and more I've been thinking, where do we go after that? Because it seems like every time we take we shake off the yoke of one, like the Jazeera cheese, and then someone else just comes in right back in.
And I think Saeeda will say, there's that boy, what was his name? Nikhil? That Al-Qadr fellow's brother. wrote some poetry about how we need a new future in which we join with enemies. And I mean, my blood fully boiled when I heard there was someone from my village, not just a Kethrisi, an Unkhatam, who was writing that. And I think now I have to admit to myself that I'm joining with my enemies. I'm drinking with the Bob. I speak with the demons of Uduvasha. This Mr. Rohini, I've mentioned, is exactly the kind of person who has been very comfortable in Uduvasha, giving permission to people to wreak havoc on our lives. So, where does that leave me? So, he was right. And I don't know what to do about it. So, where are we going to go from here? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. But I'm having to accept that it's not where we were before. And I've been fighting very hard to try and get that back, but it seems like we deserve better than where we were before.
The mention of Nikhil, I think, is a fairly, sort of a sore point for Mushfiq. He goes, well, I think it'll just say that, I don't know where, I also don't know where we're going, but I do know one thing. I don't want to trade one form of subservience for another.
Yes.
That's where Nikhil was leading us, and that's where we're going again, I fear.
Mushfiq, I think the hard truth is that he was not leading us there. It was where the people who walked with him were going, but when he said, I knew not enmity until I met an enemy, he wasn't saying, oh yeah, let's all be friends. I think he was saying, we have to figure out how we're going to think about our enemies. And I don't want to be friends with any of these people. And I sure as hell don't want to listen to their rules, their traditions. But we deserve better. So what are we doing to make that happen? I don't know. Something. We have a new gate. Did you see it? Golden. Well, it kind of looked gold. Anyway.
I think for once, I'd like to be able to just do something without conditions.
I mean, Bidrohi laid out a plan of action.
Yeah, I think that to some extent for Mushfiq and Saeeda, this is also about what happened. Like, I don't necessarily think we're just talking about this present moment. I think when Saeeda says, I don't know where we're going, it's also about, I didn't know where we were going 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a similar thing for Mushfiq as well, because for Mushfiq, going to war was about just helping out the people immediately around him, not about at least at the start, right? Not about a wider political movement. It was just, my family and my friends are in danger, I should do something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for Saeeda as well, this conversation is not so much about right now as it is the fact that all of the choices that they've been making for quite a long time have resulted now in her being almost in some ways the opposite of where they started, right? And that's something that she has to make her peace with, but it's also something that maybe indicates why we need another direction. And I think she will just say, you know what I want? I want a prawn fry like they used to make with masala and I don't want to have to pay so much as I do now to get it. I think that would be a victory.
Have food prices been going up?
No comment.
We're getting to that.
I may be obliquely referring to this. And I think I will just end by saying that I think we worry too much about history. And I don't know how to stop, but I think we worry too much about history.
This is what being old does to you. You mostly had history.
Yep.
Joke's on you. I'm actually about to encounter apotheosis, and this is actually the first 0.01% of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's so much more history to go.
Well, is that the scene of your conversation done?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Mushfik, yeah.
Yeah, because there's one more thing happening in this grove. And maybe Mushfik leaves, maybe Saeeda is alone here, or maybe the both of you partake in some delicious mangoes. Nothing says the Indulged Viceroy can be just one fruit.
Yeah.
But as the mirror is moved off the well, you can still see the light. Some time has passed. The Aampire returns. And it steps into the grove jerkily, as it usually does. Its face is covered in slashes, and a broken sword sticks through its chest, right through where its heart would be.
Oh.
It falls down to one knee and says, Ustad Jaiklev is a better swordsman than poet. He would have words. And it falls over.
Holy shit. What the fuck? I am going to pull the sword out of its chest.
Yep.
And I will say, Mushfik, do you know anything about first aid to do with swords and hearts? Because usually by the time I see something like this, they're dead, right?
That is usually the way it goes, yes. I think
Yeah,
that Mushfik
okay.
is also like sweating and panicking, like what on
Yeah.
earth? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to be like, okay, so what we're going to do is you hold them still, and I'm going to try and pull this sword out of their chest, okay?
Does the Aampire bleed?
The Aampire does not seem to drip blood outside, but there is definitely something under the skin that looks like blood. It does not leave the body though, and I think as it collapses to the ground, it seems to like touch the very floor, the very soil, as if there is something here that nourishes it. But obviously, you will still need to pull the sword out.
Yeah, I was saying that more as a, if we pull the sword out, will we cause this thing to start bleeding out?
That is a very good question. You can make some sort of roll if you'd like.
Sorry,
I think Mushfik goes. I think Mushfik goes like when I had a sword stuck in me, not through the heart, obviously, but they padded it with something, and I think he'll just try to do some like field dressing, just pat the area on the sword, and goes, do we know a supernatural doctor?
Oh,
Actually, Saeeda does.
yeah.
You know a wizard of the well.
Yeah. I like you say this, and I think I do, but usually making one of these beings meet another is a bad idea. Which is to say, the last time it happened, the King of Lies and Shariar hung out, and I don't even know what the fuck is going on. But you're right. I do know a supernatural doctor, and so I will say, yeah, I do.
I do, however, think that the Aampire says, no. Get the sword out.
Very well. It will be as you say.
Yep.
And I think that because Mushfik has studied the Aampire, maybe you can see that what Saeeda is doing is using some of her ability to study the names of things and then use that to gain insight here, right? I don't think she's really studied the Aampire at all, but what she's doing is guided by that instinct rather than an instinct of I know how bodies work, right? Because it seems like I'm able to keep up at least a little bit with the weird way that it jerks around.
Yep. So I'm going to tell you, there's no action roll to pull the sword out or anything like that. The Aampire is back in its place of power, so it will not die. when the sword is withdrawn.
Yeah.
However, I think what is clear to you both is it retreated to its place of power in order to
Yes.
not die.
Yes,
So-
yes. So that's how badass J. Clem is, right? To
Yes.
be clear?
Yeah.
Great. This is incredible. Okay, fantastic. What I want to do, I think, though, is I want to, as I pull the sword out of it, I want to study it. Do I want to? It's a bad idea, right? Normally, no. Actually, you know what? If it's possible, I want to do a long-term project to maybe consort with it. I don't want to do something that will make it feel like I'm studying it in order to stab it or something. I just want to become its friend or something.
Okay, yes, understand the Aampire.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Let's call it an 8 clock, because I think it's a relatively complicated project.
Oh yeah.
But you can spend a downtime action to work on it now as you pull the sword from its body.
Yes. Very good.
Also
And I
been in
think-
this scene for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I will just roll consort here.
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to. It's just me talking to it. It's not really a. Yeah. I rolled a 5, so that's 1 tick.
Very
No,
good.
1 tick, 2 ticks.
Two ticks.
Yeah.
2 ticks to your 8 clock. And yeah, you pull free the sword. The Aampire rests against the soil and recovers. And you have learned some about the Aampire, but you have perhaps learned more about Ustad J. Clem.
Apparently, he's a badass. I mean, we knew this,
Yeah.
but holy fucking shit. As we leave, I am just. You will see, Mushfiq, that Saeeda's just well, fuck.
Yeah, Mushfiq is similarly thinking, well, fuck, because I think, out of character, we were saying that Mushfiq had some ideas for, taking on bigger targets, but I think he's going to make a few adjustments to his calendar after this.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, there is a reason why Ustad J. Clem is as admired by the Falling Star Sword School as they are by ordinary people. So
I'm putting this in player notes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's the
Fantastic.
scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
great.
Bidrohi,
How much time do we have?
15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I still have my 2 free downtime actions and a bunch of other things to do. So I think I'll just burn through them.
Mhm.
I see what you did there. It's because I haven't burnt through that table yet.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we'll get to that, and we'll get to whatever score we're doing next session, which is probably going to be related to Ustad Shahed and the fire speakers. So yeah.
Yes, this makes sense.
Is there any way to spend a stash on something? Because I have 5
No.
stash. That's awkward.
That is awkward. No, but you can spend 3 stash as your last action. So
Yeah, maybe we'll
You
see.
overpaid. Interesting.
Yeah, we'll figure. So I'll do my free one first, which is. I think I would like to have a scene with Mumtaz. I think I'll save that for last, so I think I'll just bank that for later. In the meanwhile, so I have the Find Bahadur clock, but I don't know. We're nearing the session. I don't want to spend it on something that's not very interesting. Okay, so here's something that I've been thinking about. I think I would like to have a meeting with Omid.
okay.
I know we talked about having a scene with him where we tell him okay, you're going to take over. And so I just assume that just happened.
Yeah, we mentioned at the beginning of the session, by the way, that you had a prisoner, another one of the disabled chiefs. And I think the cleanest way to handle this is that Meredith is just hanging out with Omid now, and they're both
I forgot about that.
on your team. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't
so
say
I want
anything
to have...
weird to him. I said, don't say anything weird to him.
Hello, like what? Can you give me an example of the sort of weird thing I shouldn't say?
I don't think he can.
Why don't you go ahead and
Mushfiq's getting over
I'll
you.
flag it.
Yeah.
Mushfiq's getting over you, truly.
All right. So I think the first thing that I want to do, it's not going to be long-term. You can tell me if it's a long-term project in and of itself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Omid that, you guys owe us one. Basically we gave you Omid now runs his own gang. He's got everyone. He got rid of the people who wouldn't have been loyal to him and so on. So I'm framing this as him owing us. Maybe he doesn't see it that way, but that's how I'm framing it.
Yeah.
And the first thing that so essentially he's going to give me the friend rate on a job. And this is the first job that they get to do. Hooray! And for a change, it's not going to be terrorizing people and murdering them and stealing their shit. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm going to hire Omid's onagers to protect my friends. So, especially Tum Dorji, Alkadir.
Yeah.
Basically, I want sort of I don't know, not 24. Yeah, I want 24-hour guards on the people that I care about, so that the various NPCs and so on don't. If they are going to go after them, they can just roll up to them.
Okay. So how I want to frame this is your lair does not have secure, and while I know that these people don't live in your lair, let's frame it as secure for your lair, which also extends to your contacts to an extent, right? It's not foolproof or anything, but it's security in case someone pulls a score on you. Is it fair?
That makes sense to me. And because this is me asking for the friend rate, but I'm still paying them money. I think this is one of the ones that costs money. Yeah. Okay. I don't have an intimate relationship with Omid, nor do I want one. And I don't think there's any relevant.
Yeah. So
abilities.
I think if we're going for a layer upgrade, I would ordinarily go with a 10 clock, but let's call it 8 because you've set yourselves up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So hired security, 8 clock. And Omid can be a part of it, but I think realistically his gang is small enough that they can't be everywhere. So maybe you can fold other details into it, or maybe this is about setting them up. I don't know, but I'm framing it as an 8 clock.
We've already started working on that.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what you mean. It is an 8 clock, actually.
Secure upgrade. Well, there we go.
Yeah, that is an 8 clock. Okay,
yeah, that is an 8 clock. Perfect. Please continue working on that then.
Yeah, so it's consort, I guess.
Thank you, Salty. Yes, consort sounds good.
Actually, no, I think I'm going to roll with tier. It's the same thing, but I think it makes sense to be tier. I'm going to take a bonus dice for Omid. Is that okay? Or is it...
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
And I also think by now, by the way, Mushfik should unmark him as a rival. Not that he likes Mushfik necessarily, but he's not powerful enough.
He's not going to interfere. Right?
Yeah. So
he knows that if he tries to interfere, we will kill him.
He's not good enough to be your rival anymore.
Yeah. We're just we're rivals for funsies now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 ticks to the upgrade. And I think I don't want to spend too much time on a scene because we are running short on time. But I think the thing that Bidrohi learns hanging out and having a conversation with Omid is what Mushfik has realized about him long ago, which is that he is a cynic and he really does not believe in these ideals. You've tried to get him on your side, and maybe you could get him to believe in your ideals. Maybe that's part of what you're doing here. But Omid has basically never met a person who really believed in what they were doing, right? He's never bought into any speeches or such. But he does believe in money. So even if it's a friend rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting contrast to Ramu, who was the exact opposite, right? Who was not very smart, but genuinely believed in things.
Yeah. We can use people like that. I think in a way, this is the most trustworthy kind of person.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have Omid do another job for me. Or well, it's not necessarily a job as such. Maybe it is. He can tell me how difficult it is. Actually, let's call it a job. So I'm going to spend money on it. So here's what's up. And I'm spending the 3 stash here. So maybe there's some sort of bonus dice. I have no idea.
Sure, get a bonus dice for that. Why not?
Sure. So I say. So one of the things that we know about the Jezilchis is that half of them are in jail at any given time, and I think quite a number of them are in jail at the time of were in jail already at the time of our strike against them, and they're probably coming out. And I tell him, I don't know, that's it's entirely your business. You can tell me how many of them are your guys, how many of them are Jasper's guys, and you can figure that out. But I know that there's definitely some people there who are on board with you, or they don't mind either way, right? Not everyone can hate you.
Yeah, he nods and he goes, yeah.
Mhm.
Most people
Mhm.
understand the value of money.
Excellent. Okay. So while they're like coming out of like Falcon's Perch or like whatever hard labor camp they're in, well, especially the hard labor, there's like some super cool guys like down in like the hand. They're like doing prison labor. Here is a list of their names, and I would like your guys. You can communicate with your guys and like tell me, reach out to these guys and tell them that Bidrohi is going to get them out
Okay. Why is
Yeah.
this a downtime action? What is it contributing
because
towards?
I want to create I want to acquire the Faris's item entourage.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get what were their name? Bath Time, Zoot, Mohitul,
Yep.
something Nightmare.
Mhm.
I want
One
them
of them was called Part Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you weren't here
Okay.
for that session, Tree. Yep.
Oh yes.
Wrong with that?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Oh yeah. And yes, they were a bunch of cool guys that I really liked. And I got out of prison because Captain Peregrine got me out. It wasn't really doing prison, it was wink wink nudge nudge. But they're still in there and they're cool guys and I want them to hang out with me. I told them I'd get them out and I will.
Okay.
So I'm working on
So-
that.
It's acquiring a special item, and I think for once you're not like super set up to get this
No.
in any way. So
No.
is it fair to call it a 10 clock? I think it is because
It
it's
is
quite
very
a
fair.
powerful item. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's my personal entourage.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
call it entourage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can roll tier again, I suppose, to get word in to like set your entourage up for getting out of prison.
Yeah, this makes sense. And now I have no money.
Good.
Mm.
But you do have a
So-
bonus die here. Let's give you
Yeah.
one for shits and giggles.
Mhm. Yeah, I get increased effect to all rolls made with lifestyle or tier when interacting with friendly factions.
Mhm.
Are the onagers friendly?
They better be.
I guess
think
they
we should
are.
adjust that. Yeah, we should adjust that. Okay, bonus dice, extra dice for Omid, and oh well.
Indeed.
Okay. So you crit.
Indeed.
Well, you get 5
Turns
ticks
out-
then.
Do you reckon this is just because Omid really likes these guys?
Yes, probably.
Right.
Well, maybe they probably heard of them before, right? Because
Yeah.
like if the Giselles are in jail all the time,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was
they
probably
recognized
like,
them.
Yeah.
he was probably just like, oh, fuck off, sure I'll do it, and then he reads the list and he's like, and then he spits at Bat's time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Zoot, Mohitul.
I think
But
it's
I wasn't
also
them.
I think it's also for the reverse reason actually, and I think the Giselles are in and out of prison all the time, and then these people get word that like someone is trying to help them to get out, and it's Omid. And I think the thing about Omid is he's never been in. Like he's smart and cynical. He's never actually gone to prison. He's always gotten away with his crimes up until you guys caught him. And I think this is why like people really go like, oh shit, Omid. That's like, wow, he really knows how to slip away from the law. Okay, cool.
Excellent. And okay, now with my free downtime action, I am going to talk to Captain Peregrine and ask essentially very nicely, like, can I have these guys out of prison? I really like them.
Okay, so it's working on the same project.
Yeah.
Right. Let's do a consort, and then
Yeah.
let's do a scene with Mumtaz at the end, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting to see her a bit, and then we'll wrap up, if that's okay with everyone.
Absolutely, that's
Yeah.
fine for with me. Mhm.
Yeah.
Captain Peregrine, a Falcon. I don't think I get a bonus dice with him because I'm targeting him.
Yep.
But do I have an intimate relationship with him?
Yes, I think you do, actually.
Wow.
He sent you to...
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
he sent you to prison, and he went through enough trouble to keep you alive. So I think he cares
Yeah.
about you enough for this to fire. Like, an intimate relationship doesn't have to be anything of like a romantic nature, right? But we know that he cared enough about you to not want you to die, which I feel like is a... Like, he stuck his neck out for you. So...
Okay. Cool. So I rolled a 6, which gives me 3 ticks. Now, a river to my people does give me increased effect to all rolls made with lifestyle or tier when interacting with friendly factions. Would you say that this bumps the effect up? Okay.
Sure, let's apply it. So you finished at 10 o'clock in 2 rolls.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. The boys are back in town.
Yeah, we'll see the boys next session, I think. Like,
Yes,
it probably still
yes.
takes some time for them to get out, but the clock is finished.
Yes, we're
I
going to have
am
like
interested also to see how they interact with the rising moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to see a slow motion montage of these guys just walking in. One of them is called Bath Time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's gonna be like the Reservoir Dogs scene.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yes. Indeed.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and now to indulge my vice.
So, where are you
mhm.
meeting Mumtaz? I
Hmm.
have a scene in mind, but you can set something up if you'd like. I think it's very funny if you meet her at the spa where your last score took place.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Because returning to the scene of the crime. Plus, I think it's the sort of funny and daring thing that she would do, knowing
Yes.
that you like.
Mhm.
And
I
Bidrohi
haven't
was
been
never
there.
in the spa, so yeah. Exactly.
I want to check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've heard it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Indulge
Actually, you
vice.
did say you have been there when you were younger. You and your
Oh
friends.
yes, that's true.
go there.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
It's a 5. I had 6 stress. It was a 5.
Yeah. So I think that you meet Mumtaz, and I think you have a conversation. Let's frame this as just being like one of their hot baths. You're like feeding each other strawberries, just kind of hanging out in the bath.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing to the scene is like you have both been busy. You haven't seen each other for some time. This is your first opportunity to de-stress. And like you talk for a time, and then she leans back and she says, "So, well, you know the thing with Anrakis went well, but I am wondering if maybe our troop should be looking for a patron for real. It was fun to play the game, but, well, sometimes I think I'm not getting any younger. Could you see me working for the nobility?"
Yeah, I think I'm giving her a massage, and then I pondered this for a moment and say, I could 100% see it. You are a born star. There is great talent and potential in you, and I feel like, none of us are going to get younger, but like we're still very young, the two of us, and I think that you are one of those people who will age beautifully. And thus I think your career will only go from strength to further strength to superhuman strength.
Yeah, he says, "Well, I do love performing. What I'm thinking about actually is getting out of, the game, the crime game. The romance scam part. I'm not gonna lie, it screwed me up a little bit to be faking so much for Anish and Rakis for so long. I'm a little tired of the personas and the lies. Don't you ever get tired of what you do?"
I think Bidrohi is still giving the massage, and I think like there's obviously like my memory isn't the best even for things that I've done, but I don't think I've actually asked Mumtaz for the details of like what Danish and Raki's plan really involved beyond. Yeah.
No.
And I think that was
And
intentional.
I think you didn't want to know. So
Yeah. For various reasons, and I think like Bidrohi has been generally very open and upfront about the fact that yes, I'm dating a con artist. That's not part of the attraction, to be honest, but also getting to know the person underneath all that and so on. But like all those things are entirely her other life, and I can help. I can be part of it insofar as she'll allow me. But like,
yeah,
it's not that it's not like callous disinterest. Far from it. It's just a sort of respect, as it were, from one, I guess, criminal to another.
Yeah.
And I think now that she asks him, he says, I think the danger, Mumtaz, for me is that I am really bad at pretending. Like, I think sometimes it would be better if I were like good at pretending. I think I say the thing that I say and do the thing that like I really, really believe. And it's not exhausting because like I don't know how else I'd live, but like I think other people end up exhausted. I think it's a very different life than yours.
So you're saying you're not tired of it? You don't ever get tired of it?
I don't know. I mean, it's, as I said, like, the difference is that you're doing something, your intention, that's an effort. I'm just living. I think he's just thinking about it a little bit more. And then I think he says, I'm not tired of it yet. Not yet. There's still more to do. There's lots more to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap the scene, actually. Like, we found out a little bit more about Bidrohi. That was the... Yeah,
but I think I want to do a little bit more.
Okay.
Not to hold people up a little bit longer, but I think, I think Bidrohi is just going to say, I've also been thinking about what you said about, maybe like moving in together. How are you feeling about that?
I don't know. And I think, like, I forget what you said last time, but it's also quite realistic that she forgot what you said last time, because a lot of time has passed.
Yeah, I think the main message was like that we were very young.
Yeah.
And that things were still up in the air. But I think things have changed a little bit since then as well.
Yeah. And so I think she like leans backwards and she says, well, you could come live with me in Ash Cloister. I've got a nice place now. And I think that's her natural assumption.
I bet she does.
Because like, who wants to live in Bundervest? Like, as much as you have this cool school and everything, you still don't have quarters in it, I don't think. So you still live in like your mom's boarding house. And she's an actress now. Like, she has a nice apartment in Ash Cloister.
Yeah. I think Bidrohi thinks about this. And yeah. I think Bidrohi... I think he's really thinking about this, because I think if we like zoom into his like brain, as it were, he's just imagining like this nice place in Ashcloster. He imagines like the cramped boarding house. He imagines waking up to Sherikatan snoring. The fact that his mom's always like she's not like mean or anything, but like she's always like got a lot of pressure and expectations and so on. And then he goes to the sword school where Saeeda's yelling about something else. And all that, and then he's just imagining like being a man about town in Ashcloster, the party district. And then I think his thoughts run towards the imagination of becoming Bidrohi of Ashcloster, and not being Bidrohi of Bundervest, not being Bidrohi of Sketrusi anymore. And I don't think he's going to make his decision yet, or he's not going to say it, but I don't think he's going to do this. You can't be a man of the people and leave the people behind.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe things are diverging between us. Maybe the worlds are becoming too different.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, there's strawberries to eat.
Yes. There are strawberries to eat, and so you do. And I think we will wrap the session here. I'm just going to throw out one more thing, which I actually forgot, which was I had a plan for a scene with your mother when you did this whole like Ramu loyalty, when the crew is no longer loyal to him. I forgot about that scene now because that clock was started some time ago, so I've written it down in notes. We will do it later. I am also really interested to see actually, let's wrap up here and go to XP, and then we can debrief instead.
Okay.
But I just wanted to mention that so that it is not forgotten.
Sounds good.
Cool. So, to those of you who follow us on Patreon, please follow us on Patreon. Please follow us into the debrief. And for those of you who do not, thank you very much for listening. And we will see you next week on Desperate Attune. Attune in. Goodbye.
Bye.
Farewell.
Bye.
Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Saumitry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
It's the bitter gourd bakshish.
I'm so sorry. Did you just say the bitter gourd? Okay.
Bakshish.
I mean, I want to be clear that
I heard it too, Tree, that I didn't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Have I come up with a very stupid name again?
No, it's just that
There's something about it.
there's just something about it. Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head in some ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please continue.
Yeah,
Very
let me
good.
not dissuade you from psychic damage that you're insistent upon doing.